Welcome, everybody. Another edition of the starting lineup. Kip Keefer with the man, the myth, the legend. Legend, how are you today?
I'm feeling all-American, Kip. I am feeling
tell.
like an all-American, brother. Anytime I put this crimson and white on, I go singing God Bless America, Kip.
Well, I don't know if that's really going to help ratings if you sing, but maybe on the 4th of July show we'll do that.
Hoping.
Okay, but speaking of singing, not a lot of singing this week. College football continues to be a mess. Legend, I don't know about you. I want to get out of the courtroom and get back on the field.
Me too. I'm so sick of lawyers and judges and folks crying to President Trump in Washington, D.C. to fix our problems. I wish somebody would do their job in the NCAA college football, Kipper.
Speaking of the NCAA, another defeat for them and their lawyers. Brendan Sorsby, the transfer quarterback from Cincinnati to Texas Tech, paid $5 million by Cody Campbell to transfer.
Wow.
Of course, he's in lots of trouble. He's making lots of bets the last couple of years on his team sometimes against some of his players on prop bets.
Say it ain't so.
Yeah, it's the truth. These would be grievous rules that he would get a lifetime ban in another era. Some judge that they hired had been retired for 12 years, decided it's okay, slap on the wrist, 2-game suspension, he's good to go. And college football is on fire right now.
You know, these days you can bet on your team, you can bet on the opponent, you can bet on anybody and just say, I got a mental issue. I got one too. It's called I love to bet.
Oh, good grief. Anyway, yes, mental illness was ruled the cause, so he needs treatment, not punishment. Yeah.
I need treatment too. That last bet I made on the Golden Knights, I need some treatment too, Kipper. I need some treatment. I bet on the Braves last night too. I need some treatment.
Okay, well, we're gonna get a medical professional lineup for Legend, and we're gonna come right back with a great show for you. You're watching the starting lineup on ABC 3340.
Yo, welcome back to the starting lineup here at the Birmingham Racecourse and Casino. I'm Tony Curry, also known as Tone the Bone. That's what we call bone fragments. Little things that flutter around in my head that I like to bring up right down throughout the week. I think it's really interesting when I'm thinking about someone like Peter Ganine. You know who that is? Peter Ganine, back in 1949, some Russian-American scientist is sitting around with this little yellow ball of rubber, and he starts looking at it. He starts making this thing out of it. And next thing you know, he's got a patent in 1949 for this. And I'm sitting there driving around earlier today, coming to the studio, and I'm noticing that every Jeep on the road has got rubber duckies. There have now been 350 million of these produced annually. If you don't have rubber duckies, where are you? Because you think to yourself, though, Peter Ganine back in 1949 making this, having a trademark, a patent on the rubber ducky, and now everyone's got rubber duckies all over the place. I don't know, but I think it's kind of cool. Victor Wembanyama. What an amazing, amazing individual. 22 years of age. We'll talk about that 29-point comeback from the New York Knicks in just a second, some of the biggest comebacks in sports history. But I wanted to tell you something I think is truly amazing. Victor Wembanyama's length of his fingers is that. He's got the longest fingers, according to the Guinness Book of World Records. They're 8 inches long. His hand is this wide. And he is so far the only individual that can palm a basketball using his middle and thumb fingers only. These 2 fingers, he can palm a basketball using those 2 things. And to put this in context, Edward Scissorhands, the Johnny Depp flick, his fingers were like 11 inches long on that movie. So just think about how long his fingers are. But Victor, I mean, he is truly a freak. He's having an unbelievable season. Of course, we'll see if the Knicks can clean it up and get it done later on tonight. Saturday night, getting ready to win one for the big old New York Knicks. It's going to be fantastic. But his hands, he's just a freak. He's unbelievable. And he's going to be fun to watch a little bit later on tonight. To kind of go back to some things that we've seen, everyone says that you never turn the NBA off, and you can't. The Knicks were down 29 points. I wanted to go back and find some other games. Believe it or not, that's not the biggest deficit ever come back. The Utah Jazz did that in 1996, and I remember this because I was actually in a casino and had the other side, and the Utah Jazz came back from 36 down to win an NBA game. Drexel also came back from 34 down in a college basketball game against Delaware back in 2018. The Bills-Oilers, my good friend Al Del Greco, who is a kicker for the Oilers, he'll never forget the game. They were down 32. The Bills came back and won that game in the National Football League. And if you just remember about a few years ago, 4 years ago, 2022-23, the Vikings came back from 33 points down to win that football game. Major League Baseball, I would have thought it would have been like 20 or 25 runs or something like that. But twice, Major League Baseball teams have come back 12 runs down in the new era of baseball, Major League Baseball. And in the NHL, which of course continues, the biggest comeback is 5 goals. Pretty amazing stuff. Maybe some stuff that you like to bet on. And if you like to bet on things like that, Brendan Sorsby's probably not the guy you need to talk to right now. Texas Tech is having quite some time with everything that's going on with Brendan Sorsby, and of course his 9,000 wages he's made over the last 4 seasons at Texas Tech. Now, when he was at Indiana, and that's the same Indiana, just won the national title, he was making bets on the Indiana Hoosiers. He said he always bet on them and not against them. And he has now said that he's in IPTC, inpatient treatment centers for gambling addiction. Let's remember, having gone through the addiction process myself, this is not a bad person getting good. This is a sick person getting well. I hope the best for him. He will sit out the first 2 games of the year against Albaline Christian and Oregon State. He will start against the Big 12 in Houston in week 3. Kirby Hocutt, who of course is the athletic director for Texas Tech, has come out and said, listen, Texas Tech wasn't part of this lawsuit. We had nothing to do with it, but we will stand by our football player. He did throw for over 7,000 yards last year and of course took Texas Tech to a playoff berth. It's going to be really interesting to see how this goes down, though, since we got this judge in Lubbock who said, yeah, he can play college football. They have basically told him that he's going to have to sit out the first 2 games, but he's going to be back. And what does that say about the state of college football? Are you surprised? Seriously? I mean, do you think this is going to be the end of it? It's going to happen over and over and over again. Go to any college campus, and there are bookies all over the place, and people always making wagers on gaming, including quarterbacks of your favorite team. That's Bone Fragments here at the Birmingham Racecourse and Casino starting lineup.
This past Saturday, Kip Keefer Sports was live on the Las Vegas Strip, the Fortress in Las Vegas, Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals. The Las Vegas Golden Knights, the Carolina Hurricanes. It was a war, double overtime, several records set in the game. The Athletic called it the wackiest Stanley Cup game in Cup history. It was amazing. We thought you might enjoy this quick montage of a lot of the sights and sounds from the Fortress last Saturday night, Golden Knights and Hurricanes. From the Fortress in Las Vegas, we are at the Stanley Cup Finals. Kip Keefer Sports on hand. That means you're here in the starting lineup. Let's watch the action.
Legend Cave where few men and women have ever stood.
Just looking around, it's always amazing.
I tell you, Kip, welcome. You are always welcome. You are family here in the cave. Air Brian was just yelling at me last night when we had the pintos and greens out. Where's that country boy Kipper at? That number 21 back in the day. What was your number in high school back in the day, Kipper?
Number 29 on the program, number 1 in your heart.
Oh, man, I was number 57. I got into one play, ladies and gentlemen. It's a historic play. It made the front page of the Carbon Hill News, Kipper.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I was the third string free safety for Carbon Hill High, and we were playing against Lenny Patrick.
Oh, I remember him.
One of the best backs ever.
A beast.
A beast. Well, anyway, I got in the game. They pitched it to Lenny. He went left. Everybody went with him but me. He turned back and came right, and it was me and Lenny in the middle of the field, Kip. Guess what happened?
You laid a lick on Lenny that changed his life.
No, there was a picture in the paper. I dove at him. He came to a complete stop, pushed my head in the ground, walked backwards over me into the end zone, and that was Legend's career right there in high school football, Kipper. Can you believe it? I don't believe it. That's why I went into coaching right after that. I said, there ain't no future for Legend. You got to know when you got it and when you ain't got it, Kipper.
What was there was a movie where a man's got to know his limitations.
Got to know, just because you want to be a basketball player don't mean you can be. You might
if you're 5'6", you're probably not going to.
Yeah, but you can make it in life. See, I made it somehow. God, mama praying, but I made it. Now let's talk a minute about somebody that needs prayer.
Okay.
And that is the Alabama Crimson Tide football team.
I tell you a funny story.
All right.
The first lady's a big Georgia fan. She saw Kirby Smart jumping up and down right behind the plate at the Georgia Regional as they're going on to Omaha for the College World Series this weekend starting. And Kirby was all excited. I said, well, Legend was not excited watching the Alabama girls softball team when he saw a shot of Kalen DeBoer right behind the plate. He says, oh, no, we're doomed.
Every time DeBoer shows up for a game, we lose. Now, we're trying to love you, Coach DeBoer, but please stay away from all basketball games, all softball games that include Alabama.
Alabama's in the College World Series, so I wonder if Kalen has stamped his ticket to Omaha.
Yeah, don't go. Don't go, Kalen.
All that free travel is part of this great new deal.
Yeah, he got all them free travel miles, too. Got a private plane. Hey, how about some wins? Let's talk right quick, Kipper. This Alabama team ranked about 12, 13 in some polls, ranked about 15 or 16 in some polls. Do you see a path for the Alabama Crimson Tide to win a championship?
Absolutely. I think it's wide open, and the SEC has made enough of a statement that any of the SEC teams in the mix are going to be major contenders.
I agree with you. If Keon Russell is all they say he is, if Ezekiel Crowell is all they say he is, if Ryan Hollywood Williams rises back to the Hollywood sign, there's hope. There's a lot of ifs, though, ain't they, Kipper?
Well, there are. You really don't know what you're going to have on the fronts. And as we've talked about, college football, regular football changes like crazy. But one thing's always the same. It's the big grunts in front on the defensive and offensive lines that most of the time dictate the game. That part of the game hasn't changed. You've got to win every play. Every play in a football game is an individual battle, and you've got to beat your man more times than he beats you. That's usually the team that wins.
The big grunts in the front. I like it, Greg Byrne. You ought to put that on your desk. The big grunts in the front come before anybody else when you're recruiting, baby. I'm trying to teach you something. Take notes, Greg Burns, when I speak. You will come a long way better than where you're at right now. Let's talk about this Alabama defense. They talking elite. Do you see elite, Kip?
I do see elite, especially in the secondary. I mean, this is as good a returning secondary as any team in America, not just this year, but I think in the previous 3 or 4 years, it's the best secondary coming back. They're going to be really solid.
A lot of people, including me, I'm ashamed to say, don't think much of the SEC's chances of winning the championship this year. I'm kind of leaning towards Oregon, Ohio State. Dare I say it, I get kicked out of here. Indiana, I hear you, Bear. Do you agree with me, Kip, or do the SEC finally put an end to the Big Ten?
I like the as I mentioned before, the depth of the SEC teams. I think the Big Ten. I don't know if Indiana's a contender. That was a lightning in a bottle thing last year. They just had the right blend of people with even tiny alterations. Maybe they're not going to be the same. And I'm not ready to declare Kurt Signetti, Vince Lombardi. He's only been a major college coach for 2 years. Let's see what they do. Ohio State always hyped up, but they had 15 draft choices, Legend. That's got to make a difference. So I like the SEC to reclaim the crown this year.
Kip, as we close, Kip Keefer Sports with big news this week. We are headed to the SEC meetings in Tampa. Kip Keefer Sports has went big time. You are blowing up all over the country. Vegas, Tampa, brother, tell me, how do you do it?
It's just being blessed. Hard work, a lot of persistence, and just great team members. Marlo Hutto, who's filming us right now for this segment. Also, got this guy who's an absolute superstar, and all kinds of people behind the scenes making this happen. Kip Keefer Sports is so grateful to have the best team in the business, and it is now paying off in terms of what we're accomplishing.
We're going to be here all season, all the way through the national championship game. Don't tune in to game, all them other shows during the day. Right here, local. Hey, remember, it's just a game. Don't be like Kip Keefer Sports. Sports insane.
For Kip Perspective this week, I want to set the table for you and talk about Case Keefer, who's coming up next with Vegas Heaters. And if you don't pay attention each week to what Case tells you, you're really missing out. And just to illustrate that, I have a very interesting feature to talk about here, because we're going to put up right now tickets on the screen that Case actual wagers he made last Saturday night of the Golden Knights Carolina Hurricanes game that we just saw highlights from. These are actual tickets wagered by Case. He bet in that game a total of $250 on various proposition bets, and at the end of the night, he cashed in for $3,470. How did he do it? Let's take a quick look and tell you about these kind of bets. He had right away the first player to score a goal in the game. For either team, you can pick any of the players. They all have odds assigned. He goes in and looks at the numbers. He has already assigned a number that he thinks is reasonable for each player. If those numbers are way off, and in this case, he thought Thomas Hertl of the Golden Knights should be about 10-1. Thomas Hertl was 25-1 to score the first goal. Case made a $40 bet. Thomas Hertl scored the first goal of the game. Case on a $40 bet got back $1,015 for that one bet. He also bet five players total to score at any time in the game at various odds. Once again, dictated by the numbers, not his personal favorites or anything else. 4 out of the 5 players he selected scored goals in the game. And here's the genius in all this. If only one of those 5 that he bet had scored a goal, the odds are good enough where it would have covered his entire bet and made him a profit if only one guy scored. But he had 4 of the 5 score and got anywhere between $360 and $600 a piece back on those winning bets. So there's lots of different ways to play, but one thing is for sure. If you are a professional and you make your own numbers, and the numbers that you find that are the actual betting numbers are off, you can cash in big, as Case did last week. So the basic bottom line is, if Case Keefer likes something, you need to pay attention, because it can put some extra money in your pocket. Take it away, Case. The Vegas Heaters. Here we go.
Hey, it's Kip Keefer back again for another edition of the Vegas Heaters. I'm a longtime sports bettor, sports betting writer, and sports editor for Greenspun Media Group, which includes Las Vegas Sun and Las Vegas Weekly. This might be the last ever Vegas Heaters, not only because of the well-documented slump I've been complaining about the last several weeks that is still intact. We can just not buy one in this segment, but really I'm saying this in jest because I expect the segment to be canceled after this week, because what are we talking about this week? I'm talking about the biggest sporting event going on in the world, the World Cup 2026. Of course, got underway a couple days ago, going to be going 104 matches over the next 6 weeks. I say we're going to get canceled because I know Kip hates soccer, probably wants nothing to do with the World Cup, but hey, I'm my own man, and one thing I've really prided myself on throughout my betting career, and more writing on betting, is just being willing to try everything. Probably my favorite betting column I ever wrote, the now defunct. Who knows, maybe someday we'll get it back up and running, but in 2020, the dog days of 2020, I launched this column, 5 bets on 5 sports. Weren't a whole lot of sports going on then. It was hard to get to 5, so soccer became a real staple of that column, something I had to bet every week, had to get more familiar with the game. And while if you're still having me rank my favorite sports, it's not going to be very high up there. It might not even make the top 10, excuse me. However, I do love the way it's set up. I love the domestic leagues, relegation, promotion. I love playing for different trophies at different times. And I love the topper that, every summer we have these big international games. And then every 4 years we have the Goliath of them all, the World Cup, which just feels so much more intense, higher scoring, just is a fantastic event. And now this year to be in America and also Canada and Mexico should be a whole lot of fun. There's some things I don't love about this year, expanding the field to 48 teams. That's not great. So this will be about the 4th World Cup I've bet somewhat seriously, but the 2nd since I've actually paid attention to soccer. I think I have some idea of what I'm talking about. However, not an expert, but I am going to take you through how I bet some of my futures portfolio, some of the things I'm looking at as the tournament gets underway, starting this weekend really in full. Number 1 rule, let's get the awkwardness out of the way. The first thing I would tell people if they want advice bet the World Cup, I would just say do not bet the USA. Just stay away. And it's not like, haha, U.S. men's soccer team making fun of them because they always underachieve. I do think they're talented. They could do some things. There's just so much new money in these markets that the USA's odds are just always out of whack. I just feel like if you're trying to do this right, if you're trying to do it profitable, make plus EV, expected value wagers. I just think the USA is always overvalued, and I especially think that is true this year, where they're pretty much the consensus favorite over Turkey in their group, and I don't think there's any rating system, any statistical analysis in the world you could come up with that says they're a better team than Turkey. So I have been betting some group futures. That's one I'm on right off the bat. I like Turkey, plus 180 to win their group. It's kind of a mockery of the whole group stage now this year with basically 3 teams from most groups making it. The USA will make it to the knockout stage. Who knows? Maybe they can do something. I'm not saying don't be a fan. I'm just saying usually you are not getting any bang for your buck betting the USA. And if you're betting seriously, trying to make profit on this, I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities to bet against the USA. Now that that's out of the way, let's talk about some of the futures I like for the whole tournament. And one of them should be close to home. I wonder if it's who Alabama is rooting for after Argentina got that big exhibition win at Jordan-Hare Stadium as they were getting ready for the World Cup. I know Lionel Messi came off the bench, scored. They are the defending champions. And I think because of that, because there's a stigma that teams can't go back-to-back, because there's a stigma of Messi getting older, I think they're a little too high. I bet them 10-1 to win this tournament. Going to be tough to do, but I think rumors of Messi's demise are kind of greatly exaggerated. Yes, he's not the player he was 4 years ago. He's a little bit older than me, as crazy as that is to believe, but he's such a team guy. I think he'll be willing to come give that spark off the bench. Still think he's able to score, and they have some younger, more unheralded guys that I think will still be able to score for them. Arturo Martinez, I know, is an older guy too, but he carried them to the Copa America title 2 summers ago. Another great scorer. I think Argentina also has a very good path, an easy group. If they win it, it looks like their knockout stage round's not going to be that tough, so I bet Argentina 10-1. I started there. The second team I bet is a team usually everyone's picking the World Cup. Nobody likes them this year. Go ahead and give me Germany at 16-1. This team has some defensive shortcomings, but again, I'm not the biggest soccer guy. And you look at their roster, you look at their attackers, they just have a bunch of guys that can score. So I loved Germany at 16-1. It looks like they might have a tough round of 32, round of 16 game if the bracket breaks the way we think it's going to. But if they get past that, it is smooth sailing. I think that is way too high for the Germans at 16-1. The last team I'm starting my World Cup portfolio with, I took Norway at 40-1, just a long shot. Of course, everyone knows Erling Haaland. They have some other guys that can score. They're in a tough group with France, but again, they're going to get out of the group stage. I just thought 40 was a little high. It has crashed down now to more in the 30 range. I would try to get at least 35. Probably not one that's going to win, but I want to get back to building that more portfolio style. If you've watched the last couple weeks, you know I've complained that I was shut out of both NBA and NHL this year. I think it's just because I got cocky. I had the best teams, had the Avalanche, had the Lightning, had the Thunder. They all don't get there. I don't want to be just on one team in this event. I want to try to pick off prices, buy low on teams when I can, and that brings me to another team I will be looking for. Another team stock seems down on, and I know they don't have the superstars of past, but this team gets me every year. I think every time I've bet the World Cup, I've ended up betting them a lot of times as the favorite. They've never gotten it done since I've been betting seriously. That is Brazil, who has Carlo Ancelotti as their manager now. They have a really tough first matchup against Morocco. I'm not as high on Morocco as some people, doing the data dive, looking over them, but people think they could really lose this match. If they lose this match, I would not be willing to buy low. Hopefully they get up to like a 15, 16 to 1. They would be another team I might be willing to add into that portfolio. I like these South American teams. I think the heat is going to be a big deal. Going to be tough for these European sides. I talk about everything in here. I hope I give you a good idea of how I like to build futures-wise, how I like to bet. And just this week, the biggest thing going on, no doubt, is the World Cup. So that's some action. If you just want to get in on the action, follow along. That's who I like in the World Cup. Thanks for listening to another edition of the Vegas Heaters.
It's about time to wrap it up on this edition of the starting lineup. We're getting closer and closer to football season. We're down now into the 70-some-odd days. That's right around the corner.
Yeah, I can't wait. Man, I tell you what, I seen that squirrel on the tree the other day looking down at me. He looked afraid. Last year, I was up in the tree with him after the Florida State game. I hope I'm not up there this year after the Florida State game.
I don't see that happening. That's in Tuscaloosa. Going to make a big
Dukes
difference.
Robinson,
Yeah.
Windsor, they got talent. They got talent, Kip.
And they've got Daniels, who was pretty tough for Alabama to stop last year for Auburn.
Yeah, who knows?
We haven't talked about Auburn much, which was by
Thank
design
God.
for you, but I think Alex Golish might be on the right track with this team. But I just keep looking at the schedule. It looks brutal to me.
It's brutal. They could be 2-4 in their first 6 games and still have a decent team. And if they're 2-4, I'll be celebrating with that squirrel in the tree also. We have parties after the Auburn losses.
Legend and I are going to be coming to you from all over the country. We've got all kinds of great trips and different things scheduled for this summer. Kip Keefer Sports is going to be there every step of the way, including SEC Media Days, and you are in the starting lineup for that because you are a Kip Keefer Sports fan. It's going to be a great year.
It's going to be a fantastic year all over the country, right here, 10:30 every Saturday morning. Tune in. You never know what may happen.
And also catch us on the radio, WJOX, each week, Saturday mornings. And the morning after starts on Sunday in August. Kip Keefer for the Legend and all of our great cast of characters. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody. We will see you right here next week on the starting lineup.